Hub, you looking good tonight, Hub.
What an introduction.
Right.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this month's closing table. And if you were looking as good as Hub is, we're all going to have a fantabulous day. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Bay Ragney, but it's not about me. It's not about Hub. It's about our guests coming up. But more importantly, it's all brought to you by the man next to me, the one and only Dan Peasy of NextHome Brandywine. They are based out in Westchester, Pennsylvania, but they cover Delco, Chesco, Monco, all the way out to Reading, Lancaster, and beyond. Contact them today for all your real estate needs. NextHomeBrandywine.com. And Dan's going to talk to you about the changes in the real estate business.
And Hub, thanks for coming on. Hub's always, out of the three of us, Hub is always the calmest, and he's the most level-headed out of the three of us. He always comes on with no issues. He's always calm and ready to go. He looked no 10-gallon cap tonight for Hub. Quickly here, and I apologize if my sister's listening because I went off the other night. My sister, I had referred somebody to Delaware, and I didn't think that the agent was communicating the changes properly. So let's start with the old way. We have a lot of changes in real estate, but it's not catastrophic, and it may take a second, but it's not as cumbersome as people think. The old way. Mr. Bay Ragney was a seller. He called up NextHome Brandywine. He said, Dan Peasy, I would like you to sell my house. I sit down with Bay. I negotiate the commissions. Could be 5%, could be 6%. We make a deal. I say, Bay, you're going to sell your house. You're going to pay NextHome Brandywine, our brokerage, X percentage. Then what I would do is I would put in a multiple list service that I'm listing Mr. Bay Ragney's house, and I am offering a cooperative broker X amount of percentage or a flat fee amount. And they would see what I was offering. They would bring their buyer. If we made a deal at settlement, NextHome Brandywine would share cooperative agreement, my commission, whatever I committed to, with the buyer's broker. Now, we have decoupled. Hub fixes things. Decoupling, right? Separating. We are decoupling in the real estate industry. What does that mean? What it means is flat out, people, not to be stern, call Dan Peasy. I trained under Dave Stinson, 65 years in the business. People don't know how to explain it and don't put in the time and the effort, but I do. And you can thank Dave Stinson and the Century 21 Absolute Realty team for professionalism for 45 years in that business that taught a lot of good agents. All this means is, with the changes, the buyer, I cannot show a buyer a house without an agency agreement in place. There's two types of agency agreements. In fact, I got them in my file over there. One is for one particular house. You could show just a couple of houses, or one is for a particular time frame. Back to commissions real quick, slightly confusing. So here's what happens. No longer can I offer a cooperative, if you're doing it right, commission to another broker. So the buyers, I cannot say to a potential buyer's broker, I'm offering you X commission. Now the commission has to technically come directly from the seller. Instead of the seller paying me and then I pay the buyer's broker, now the seller pays me what we agree to list the house, and then the seller decides if they're paying a commission to the buyer's broker directly. Everybody, you guys follow that? Everybody understand that part of it?
The problem is that people don't want to pay things out of free will. They just want to get the best deal.
So let's get to that. So when we come to the, let me pull that form so I have the wording right. Stay right there because I got it. Oh, it's right next to me. Look at that. It's right next to me. Let me pull this form because there's two types of forms now. Before you show a buyer a house, it's been a long day and I forget the name of the form. It's called a non-exclusive buyer agency contract, and there's an exclusive. The difference between the two, the non-exclusive is just for a particular home, and exclusive is for a period of time. Now, we have to disclose up front to the buyer, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, my commission is X, whether that's 2, 2.5%, 3%. We're disclosing that's what I'm getting paid if I represent you. Now, how is that money coming to me? it doesn't necessarily mean that that buyer is locked in contractually to pay you. Because what we will do is before we show a house to that buyer, we will call up. Bay's the agent for 123 Main Street. I call Bay up. I say, Bay, it's Dan. Hey, Dan, we've done business before. Hey, is your seller paying a commission to the buyer's agency? Yeah, Dan, they're paying up to 2%. Okay. Now I know that my commission is going to be paid by the buyers, by the seller themselves to the buyer's agent, which is me in that case. The buyer doesn't have to pay me that. So say I agree to 2.5% from the buyer, and we go out and we start seeing houses. We call up before we know what the commissions are. So if we have a deal, we want to put a deal together. We want to write an offer. I write an offer. In the new agreement at sale, it says that the seller's going to pay me in the agreement X commission. Okay. So if I agreed to 2.5% with my buyer and the seller wants to pay 2.5%, the buyer's not paying me anyway. The money's still coming from the seller. It's just not going from the seller to the seller's broker to the buyer's broker. It's going directly from the seller to the buyer's broker. The only way that this becomes a problem is if the seller is not paying the commission, and that if we can't negotiate a deal, and it would be on the buyer, because we have a contract on what my commission is, it would be on the buyer to pay the commission to their agent. If the buyer and I, who are contracted together as a buyer's representation and as a buyer, we decide that they don't want to pay me the commission, and the seller's not paying commission, and I doubt this is going to happen in 80 or 90% of the instances, but it can happen with the decoupling, then we make a decision. I'm not going to represent a buyer for free. I say, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I am not going to represent you because I'm not getting paid in the transaction unless we can work out some sort of monetary for me that makes sense. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the buyer has to pay their agent. They can pay their agent if it makes sense in the transaction that's negotiated. We've always negotiated. We've always had buyer's agencies. The biggest point here is it's a decoupling. Instead of the seller paying the agent the full commission up front, their agent that they hired to sell their house, now they're only paying their agent what they're going to pay them to sell the house, and then they decide whether they're going to pay the buyer's agent directly. It's a little confusing, but it really isn't a huge change. It's just that the buyer now has to sign that agency contract, and they have to know. They had agency contracts in the past, but the buyer has to know that my commission is X. Here's one last thing. Hub's going to ask questions. One last thing is the negative aspect. If I sign with that buyer for 2.5%, but the seller was willing to pay me 3% in the deal, I can only take the 2.5% because that's all I agreed upon with that buyer. I don't agree with that. It's not American. It's not entrepreneurial. Why hold me back from making the most commission I can if everybody agrees to it? But that's the deal. Once I sign, it's up to that money, up to 3%, up to 2.5% when you sign the buyer's agency agreement with the buyer before you start showing them homes. Hub, the floor is yours.
Well, I was thinking, how this Carl Rowe, the guy on the Fox News, he has a whiteboard, and I think we probably need a whiteboard to see this because more ways, because this is inside baseball information, and for everybody you have to repeat it so you can become fluent in what actually is happening.
I like what Hub is saying. You should do a video kind of like what John Madden would do with the X's and O's, and do like this whole crazy video.
We do have,
kind of making fun of it.
We do have some charts that show the old way and the new way. I'm going to put them up on our social sites. Okay. It's a little convoluted when you explain it, but in my head, I fully understand. I don't want people thinking that the buyer is forced to pay their agent. They're not. We don't have to make a deal. I'm just telling you what my commission is. If we go and offer on a house, I'm telling you what I'm getting paid up front. You don't have to make a deal. You're not forced to pay me. Most instances, the seller's still going to pay a commission directly to the buyer's agent. What do you care if you're a buyer where the commission comes from? You're buying it at X price like you always did. And in most instances, in my opinion, you're not going to have to pay a commission. So I'm going to do that. And we're going to chart this and we're going to talk about, we might want to do another show, just an interim 30-minute, just to get into more details on that subject.
Yeah, but see, I think that this thing could be explained numerous times because we need to really become very fluent in just the simple basics of this.
Right. And the basic is that the buyer has to sign an agreement with the buyer's agent before they even see a house. We kind of had that in the past, but nobody used the buyer's agency agreements like they should have. And when the seller sells their house, they're really only committing to the commission to the selling agent, 3% to me. And then I asked them, are you willing to pay a cooperative, not cooperative anymore, will you pay willing to pay the buyer's agent directly, yes or no? And usually they'll say, yeah, I'm willing to pay them. I'll pay them up to 2 or 3%. Tell them to write it in the agreement of sale. So everything's coming back to negotiations with a little bit more paperwork in between.
But they don't have to agree to that until it's sold?
Correct.
But what if you make them agree to it if it does sell in advance?
Well, what I do is, because I think in full transparency, I say to them, what are you willing to offer as a buyer's agent? 1, 2, 3, whatever. So now I just took a listing, Sugarman Road. Look it up. It's a nice ranch house.
The problem with this whole thing is that there are people who will try to weasel out of stuff.
Yeah, and it is in writing in the agreement. So when you write the agreement and the buyer and seller contract, it's written in that agreement what the agent's getting paid. Mm-hmm. So that binds them. Once that contract's signed, all that money is binded what was agreed to.
But all this needs to be told up front in advance the whole time, over and over.
Wait to hear this. The first guy, it was a nice Taiwanese gentleman on Sunday I took to see a house, and he spoke a little broken English. 26 minutes for me to explain it to him. And he was a well-learned guy with a little bit of language barrier, but he was a well-learned guy. And I said to him, his name was like Gershwan. I said, do you understand we've been on the phone for 26 minutes? Because I told him, unless you sign this, I can't, by Pennsylvania state law, I can't take you through the house. But he understood it, and he thought it was weird. But I had 2 signed this week without a problem. But it, like Hub said, you got to get used to explaining it to people.
Yeah, but you want to make it so simple, and you're going to get better at explaining it.
Absolutely.
The more you do, it's like, okay, I'm not going to get into politics, but I'm a presidential candidate and I don't want to do debates. Well, the only way you're going to get any better at doing debates is by doing debates.
Absolutely.
Or doing interviews. Everything's about practice and improvement.
And we do have some forms that can show people on paper. So that's what's going on there. Real quick, interest rates are not great. They're still in the 6s. The market activity is picking up. I'm not saying that we're booking deals, especially in the higher price points, but the activity is picking up. You know how many people email me about Delco Jesus? A lot. Everybody wants to hear from Delco Jesus. My cousin Jody, photographer extraordinaire, photo designs by Jody. She said she was going out. She had to listen to the replay. She texted me. She said, I can't believe Delco Jesus is coming on tonight. So they set this up, and Bay can introduce him and kind of, for people that don't know him, kind of give us a little intro on Delco Jesus.
Well, let's welcome him to the closing table. He is truly an icon in the Delaware County area, especially if you're at Dolan's Bar. But I sometimes call him Zorro. He knows why. But to everybody else, he's known as Delco Jesus. Welcome to the show, Jesus.
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Man, I appreciate you coming on. We really do. We appreciate you joining us. Everybody loves you on Facebook. Like I said, we got a lot of comments that we don't always get as we come on the podcast. They're like, we can't believe we have a Delco Jesus on.
That's
so
awesome.
I appreciate you coming on.
I didn't know they said y'all in Pennsylvania.
I'm definitely different.
What?
Oh man.
So how did the whole thing happen? I mean, I remember how many years has it been? It's been at least.
So since I've been doing it on Facebook, it's been about 10 years now.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. It came up with it, I want to say 12, 13 years ago. It actually comes from when I was younger. I was 14. I got hit by a 15-seater van crossing Westchester Pike. And
okay.
It blew a red light. It was a church van, which makes it even funnier. Hit me on Good Friday, and I left the hospital Easter Sunday. So then years later, I had really long hair. I was drinking at a bar, and Philly Jesus got arrested. And I said, well, if this guy's Philly Jesus, then I'm Delco Jesus. and I've been kind of
it's
running with
stuck.
it ever since then.
That's hysterical.
That's awesome.
Of course, it has to take place in a bar in Delco.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Which bar was it?
So at the time it was called Cantina Diablos, but it's now McSorley's in Arden.
Oh, okay.
I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone through a lot, and it used to be McSorley's, and then went through a lot of name changes and is back to McSorley's again.
So where are you from originally?
I grew up in Upper Darby.
Dude, all right. What part of
Where
the
base
bar?
from?
So I grew up in Highland Park.
All right.
No
You're on
way.
the other side of the tracks.
Yeah.
Okay. So Delco, for those of us who are in a different part of the country, does that mean, is that like a short for Delaware County?
It's short for Delaware County, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but the other people don't even know that, and they don't even know that Delaware is close to Philly. A lot of people.
And
if
it's
you're not from that area, they don't know.
Yep. Yeah. So it's funny because I've got a pretty big family, so I've got cousins that live in other states and they talk about it. I have my dad's side who's from Ireland, so I have people in like Ireland that follow me and have no idea what Delco actually is. So it's kind of funny.
It sounds like a tire company.
Yeah, right.
Or a battery company. I think the mini series kind of put it on the map when she did the Delco accent and all that, and then that kind of really put us on the map and took off. I'm from Fallcroft originally, proud of it.
There you
Falcons.
go. Nice.
So yeah, what was that show, Bay, with the lady that did the whole
Mayor of
Delaware
Easttown?
County?
That's
it.
Yeah, Mayor of Easttown.
So
that was so we had Evan Peters, who's on that show. He was looking up like the most Delco places to try to like go places to learn the accent, how people act, because he really wanted to be. His character was very, very Delco. It was Ridley 05. So he started Googling like most Delco places. And I used to do a podcast that was called Delco Live, where we did the most Delco town bracket in 2018, which had like a pretty big reach, like 1.5 million people voted in on it between all the different brackets. And it came out with like Ridley winning. And then like 2 months later, we did the most Delco bar bracket and Dolan's Bar won. So when he looked it up, that's what he found was Dolan's Bar. So he would come in there sometimes and like sit around. We get to teach him like the Delco accent.
That's awesome. I want to circle back to how did Ridley win that?
They fought for it, man. It was a lot of voting. Like the reach on it was like 1.5. I think altogether that last vote, it was like, I want to say it was like 24,000 to 22,000 like people voted for Ridley.
I think they had a few more people. I think we needed to bundle Fallcroft, Norwood, and Glen Olden.
Well, Fallcroft got to the Final Four.
See that? No joke right there.
The next year, and Clifton won. But every year it was very Delco towns that were always in like the top 4, top 8.
So my mom's family's from Clifton Heights.
Okay.
And my grandfather's sisters ran a bar in Clifton Heights. Right off the old Baltimore Pike. Yeah. My family's all Fasciolas, all Clifton Heights people growing up.
Nice.
Yeah, my grandfather was a builder, and we were all Delco down there. My dad's family lived in Springfield. My mom's family lived in Clifton Heights. We were schooling in Fallcroft, Bonner guys. So we got to visit Upper Darby Bay by going to school over there.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. Have you, Delco G's, have you seen a big change in the county over the years?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I grew up in Highland Park. I don't live in that area anymore. I actually moved the opposite side. I live in Parkside now.
Okay.
So I went from Pika's to Phil and Jim's pretty much. It's definitely different. I mean, it's certain times I feel like certain areas are actually getting nicer. And then there's just certain areas that have really, really gone downhill.
Yeah, they have. 2 quick points. Parkside's an interesting little niche. There's some really nice spots over there.
Yeah.
It really is an interesting little niche place. I sell over there as well. And let's real quick touch on Pika's. I think that new Pika's on Westchester Pike in Westchester sucks. It's not
really?
close to it.
That's what I've heard.
I think the service, I don't want to bash anybody, but I don't like the service. They're slow, and I like the Upper Darby location better.
Well, I mean, the Upper Darby location is definitely the OG one. It's going to be better. It was there for, I guess, 60 years now, 70 years. I forget how long it's been there now.
Crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been to the Westchester one a few times. I work literally right up the street. So sometimes I'll go there for lunch. The pizza's exactly the same, I feel like, which is good. But yeah, I haven't had any problems with them. I like them.
Do you know they tested the water to make sure that the pizza was going to be the same over there?
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
They went all over, from what I understand, and tested the different water before they decided on a new spot because they want to make sure it was authentic as possible as far as the pizza
That
goes.
makes sense. Yeah, the water, everything. I used to work at Wolf Superior in Aston with Dan Wolf.
Dan, yeah.
And it was funny. He was telling me about that, like when he was learning how to make pizzas, like everything, the temperature of the room,
Yes.
just 1 degree different can cause everything to be different. I never realized how, like, in a sense, fragile pizza is.
And the chemistry, almost the chemistry of it. I was a Lafayette pizza guy. They were like probably close to 40 years in Fallcroft in the shopping center there where McCrory's used to be years ago and all the A&P. And
what was
they
the
were
bar
Greek
down in Fallcroft? What was that
What's
bar?
that?
What was the bar in that shopping center, Fallcroft? It was
yeah, it was. It's still there. It's
No.
called It's called Chasers.
Yeah, Chasers.
Yeah, Kareem was cooking there.
That's
It
where
used
he
to be. What was it?
It was some-
No, wait a minute. What was it? Tavern. Man, I'm getting old. I should know that right off the top of my. Chicho's.
Chicho's. Yeah.
Chicho's Tavern for like 30 years.
Yeah.
So is this a podcast that you do that's all about Delco in the area?
So I used to. Yeah, the last few years I really haven't done much with podcasting. I would say probably 21 I kind of stopped. I've mostly just been doing like food reviews. I do like a lot of
restaurants.
Memes. Yeah, so I'll go to different like places, different like, cheesesteak places, burger places. Anytime there's like a new place, I like to try it, especially because I know it gives them, like, if they're brand new and they don't really have a following yet, I know me going there helps them. So I like to do stuff like that, like anything that like just incorporates just trying to bring like light to a lot of places in Delco, because like I love everything here.
It's so cool.
That's fantastic.
When I was back in town, beginning of the month visiting, I went back down to Upper Darby to my old hood, and I grew up right like 3 blocks off of 69th Street. So I was down there and looking at my old house and where they're knocking down the old Gimbel's parking lot, and I literally just sat in front of my house crying. So I could not believe how bad that area has gotten.
Yeah, and like it was sad. So I used to work at. Do you remember the Alliance Bank on 69th Street?
Yeah, right on 69th and Walnut.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It's
I
like
worked
a
there.
Indian place now or a Turkish place or something.
No, it's I thought it was a mosque at one point, but I think it's more of like something. It's a religious center, but it's not actually a mosque.
Okay.
But I worked at the Alliance Bank up until like right before they closed, like maybe like 2 years before they closed it.
I used to do telemarketing up on the 2nd floor back in like I think the late 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I was always down that area. My uncle owned. Do you remember the laundromat on Marshall, or dry cleaner? I mean, on Marshall, going towards 63rd Street. Like if you go past 69th Street, go up Marshall. So there's that big white warehouse.
Oh yeah.
By the fire station and everything
Right.
like that. So that warehouse was my uncle that owned it. It was D&M's, and I used
Right
to
on Kent Road, Kent and Marshall.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I had been going up there since I was a kid, and I remember as a kid, like that area was nice. I'm talking like probably like 93, 94. I even had cousins that lived like in Overbrook and stuff like that. And I remember like around that time just thinking it's not looking nice.
Yeah.
It was getting kind of rough down there.
The city moved, stretched out, in the 50-100 block there, and came down Market Nation. I used to work for Sneaker Express in the late 80s at the top of the hill, closer to McDonald's, closer to that pizza place that was up there. I'll tell you one thing unique about that. There's got to be 15, 20 different countries represented in that section. There's people from all over the place.
There's more languages spoken in that area of Upper Darby than there is anywhere else in the world.
I'm telling you, you meet people from Morocco, Polish, Turkish. They're all over the place over there. All kinds of Asian descent people. It's a melting pot over there. And they all push down from kind of West Philly out there from the 50s, like where Dancing on Air was taped, and they all kind of started to push down into 69th Street.
Isn't it interesting though, like how they all ended up there?
Yeah, I mean it's also like kind of like a hub too, because you got like 69th Street, and that was like the thing that connected the suburbs to like Philly too. Right. So it kind of just, you had a lot of people that moved in there, and it just became a welcoming place for like no one really speaks the same language, but they all found a way to like communicate with each other.
It was very interesting. So Hub's from Texas. So Hub's not a Delco guy like the three of us. Hub, what interesting question can you ask Delco Jesus about Delaware County in Pennsylvania?
Well, now, see, I lived in San Diego for 30 years. So Jim Croce is from Upper Darby.
Yes.
And he had a restaurant in San Diego called Croce's for
Really
40 years. Yeah, his wife owned it, and his son, who also sings too, he lives in San Diego. A lot of people I knew him. Yeah. And so you guys, I don't know if you guys know about the Dance Party USA with Chris Kelly, and we've had him on the show.
Yeah, were you, Delco Jesus, a little younger? Were you familiar with Chris Kelly and that whole group back in the day?
He dated Kelly Ripa.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dated Kelly Ripa from TV fame. Yeah, he was on. That was Bay's friend. Yeah, he was a good guy.
Okay.
That was a big claim to fame.
We were old St. Alice guys.
Man,
been like best friends in St. Alice from. It's funny, like I could still literally picture the day I met him on the schoolyard in I think it was like 1982. He was in 6th grade. I was in 7th grade. Yeah, and he had come over from Bywood. He got transferred from Bywood. Yeah.
You just wanted to hang with him because all the ladies liked him. That's why you were trying to ride his coattails.
Hey man, that was even before he was on Dancing on Air.
There you go.
And Delco Jesus, what have you been up to lately with the page and kind of some of the stuff you've been visiting as far as new businesses and stuff?
So lately I haven't done much. I've actually been kind of just hanging out. I got hurt at work like 3-4 weeks ago. I work I manage a tire place in Westchester. And I was working on some tires and I got hit in the head. So I've been not doing much, but one of the things they suggested to me for like my my rehabilitation was like actually getting out. Like they said, they used to just tell people just sit in a dark room until you feel better. Now they kind of just tell you to go out until like you feel sick and then go back. So I've got to hang out at Dolan's a lot over the last couple of weeks. We did crab racing on Sunday, which was pretty fun. So we had a lot of people out for that, which was cool. I've never been part of a crab racing event before, but it was awesome.
That's funny.
Speaking of crabs, real quick, I remember my grandmom, who was from Italy, my grandma Pizzi, she used to get the fresh crabs and make crabs and spaghetti, and the crabs would always jump out of the pot and be running around the kitchen floor. Really? I remember her trying to call them little suckers, run around the kitchen floor, and they'd be biting her. She'd be trying to pick the crabs up to throw them back in the pot. For some reason, the crabs always jumped out the pot and were running around the kitchen floor at her house in West Philly on Simpson Street. Yeah, that's my crab chasing story.
Simpson
I was like,
Street.
How can you not keep them in the pot?
I used to know somebody who lived on Simpson Street.
They were nice houses back in the day.
Yeah,
not far from 69th Street, just down there on the other side of the old golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what place do you work at in Westchester? The Firestone? My office is here in Westchester.
Oh, so I run the Tires Plus.
Oh, yeah. Right down in town. Yeah, right by one of my favorite places, my Jersey Mike's.
Yeah.
You're down that way. Yeah.
Literally right down the street. You got them. You got America's Pie right there. There's a lot of good places to eat.
Yeah, you got a lot of good places. I got it for a chain. I like Jersey Mike's.
Yeah, I haven't had them yet. I keep thinking about it, but
when you're back, I have to stop and see it.
It's here in Dallas too.
Do you like it?
I'm not really a sub kind of guy that much.
Once in a while, you have to try.
Come on, it's a hoagie. I
like them. I know, but
come on, cause it's a hoagie.
They're good. What's so funny?
So Delco Jesus, what is like when you post stuff on your page and you get lots of things going on, you get a lot of followers and all. What's like the biggest thing to get people talking and up in arms for you? Is it WaWa? Is that like the thing that strikes people's nerves?
Yeah, WaWa is definitely one, especially when I tell people there's things from WaWa that I love. Because like I always joke that my relationship with WaWa is the same relationship that girls from Delco have with like their baby dads. I talk a lot of trash on WaWa all day on social media, but you know you can find me there at 3 a.m. So I love talking about like WaWa pizza because their last pizza they've come out with is not bad at all. It tastes like almost like a Domino's kind of pizza, but
I can't believe they have pizza.
All right, hold on a
I'm
minute.
surprised.
Did you see? I walked in the other night. Maybe I'm just having. They have a personal size now.
They got a personal. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm thinking.
Is that
I'm
new?
hearing good things.
Is that new?
It's brand new. Yeah, I'd say last couple weeks they just came out with
I
it.
went in and I said, "Did I miss this?" I was going to try it because I'm a sucker, and I was like, "Man, I'm going to try it. Like maybe they don't have to stretch the dough as much. Maybe it's a little bit better."
Are they literally hand tossing the dough?
No, I think that they're probably just frozen pizzas that they're putting in an oven.
Okay.
I think they're fresh frozen and they put them in the oven. But in all honesty, and I'm a pizza connoisseur, it's not horrible. You said it.
Not bad, yeah. I mean, if someone gave me a piece of Wawa pizza, I'd eat it. I'd be like, this isn't bad.
That's how I feel.
It's not great pizza, but it's also not bad pizza. So, I feel like they finally got a few things right. I like that. I like their meatballs, and I like their Italian pinwheels. So I love talking about the things I love from there because it does get people so upset.
Now, I'll say about now, mind you, I've been out of the area for 5 years, but the pinwheels, I always would look at them and say, I want the pinwheels, and I would get them, and I'd be so disappointed.
Really? See, I only like the Italian.
They're just not that filling.
No, they're not. They're not filling at all.
And they're easy to eat in the car.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of them. You're just
so let me tell you this
on the way back to work.
Quick story. We come back from Wildwood. My mom's with me and my son. We come back from Wildwood. We left early. We stop at WaWa. We get something to eat. So, we got our sandwiches. My mom doesn't want me to leave the parking lot. She wants us to eat there. I go, I never eat in this parking lot. I'm always eating and driving. She thought I was crazy. What do you mean? Sit here and eat for a minute. I go, I always eat when I'm driving. I never sit in the parking lot. I get my coffee. I have two hands. I hold the wheel with my elbow, and away we go. So she said, I'm not. She said, I'm not putting my seatbelt on unless you sit here and we eat here in the parking lot. So in Jersey, on the way back from Wildwood 2 weeks ago, we were stuck sitting there eating our Wawa in the parking lot because, Mom, you're listening. I know you are. She would not leave because she wanted to eat in the parking lot.
I could never imagine eating in the parking lot of a Wawa.
Delco, you don't eat in the parking lot, do you? Grab your shit and you go.
I eat it as I'm going.
Me too.
You know what though? When I worked in the car business doing what I did with the pictures and all, when I was bouncing from account to account, I would sit in a parking lot every day and eat my lunch and people watch. It's the most fascinating thing to watch people go in and out of Wawa.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, Hub, who's the comparable out there in Texas? Like Sheetz? Who's the big ones?
Okay, now I'm going to give Bay the air on this one because Bay just recently went to the place where they go to in Texas, which is called Buc-ee's.
I'll tell you what, it's life changing.
Delco. You know about this place?
I've heard about it. I want to go to one.
I'm dying
to
to
Buc-ee's.
It is unbelievable.
We
First
don't have
off,
what's
there's
the closest
100.
one?
I mean, the closest one, even for me, is 2 hours away.
I think it's Virginia for us. I don't know if you saw, they're supposed to open one in our area.
Really?
Yes, look it up. Off the turnpike, Bucks County, maybe Berks County, close enough.
Okay, somewhere would be driving.
When you go there, Delco, I'm coming with you. We're going to do a full tour of Buc-ee's.
It's worth it to go take the ride to Bucks County just to experience it because, first off, there's 100 gas pumps, and the store, it's like going in Wawa that's on steroids times 100 because
is it like a supermarket?
It's literally the size of a supermarket, but they have instead of like a lunch meat counter, they have this giant counter. One half is a bakery counter, and the other half is jerky. They have like a center island where they're making I went, it was like 4:00 in the morning. They were making brisket and egg tacos.
Well, brisket's supposed to be their thing.
It was freaking delicious. It was so good. I couldn't believe it. And the bathrooms, cleanest bathrooms I've ever experienced in my life. It's unbelievable. And anything you can think of that you can put a Buc-ee's emblem on, they have it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a full-blown Walmart of Buc-ee's. That's how big it is. It's unbelievable.
So, how close is one to you?
They're not far. Maybe an hour, maybe less.
Oh, man, Buc-ee's is the bomb. I'm dying to try it. I watch this girl on YouTube, and she travels around in her Defender, and she goes to Buc-ee's all the time.
Oh,
They're from Texas. They started
really?
here.
What are the things, Tub? Is it beaver nuggets? Is that what they're called?
Beaver nuggets.
I don't know.
They're literally like corn pops, like the cereal,
Yes.
but they have like different flavors of them. So it's pretty wild. Like when I went there, it was literally 4:00 in the morning. I was at Buc-ee's, and all of a sudden, my buddy in Alabama calls me. He's like, "Did you get the beaver nuggets?" I'm like, "Get the what?" He's like, "You got to get the beaver nuggets." And I was already on the road at that time. And then there was another Buc-ee's I hit like an hour down the road, and I had to stop again. So I stopped and went to the bathroom and got beaver nuggets. But it was
So-
How were they? How were the beaver nuggets?
they're all right. I mean, it was like corn pops, like the cereal.
Is a corn pop sort of like a corn nut?
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of like the cereal, the corn pops.
You ever had them?
The
little
bakery
yellow
is
cereal.
amazing there. It's huge. Everything.
Have you seen these new WaWa designs? We just had a new WaWa open. I live in Western Chester County on the Lancaster line, 10 and 30, Parksburg, Coatesville. And they just built a brand new WaWa, and they have nice dining area inside. And
Do they sell alcohol?
They do, and the you know what they do in that one, and the it's a rectangular design, a whole different store layout, and everything's backlit. Like when you go, each section it's not overdone, it's very understated, but each section has a backlit light, like drinks, or it has everything's like segmented. It has a nice eating area. Very interesting layout. They're nice. They're a little bit more sophisticated, a little more understated. Not as much.
Some of the newer ones that are getting liquor licenses to sell like beer, wine, stuff like that have to have like an eating area because it's part of the law. So they have one also up on like 322.
Yeah.
Like right above Aston area. I guess that whatever that would be like.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
There's
what
one up
happened?
there. And they have that exact same thing where it's like just the seating area on the side, the beer.
Now, are you allowed to drink beer while you sit there?
So it's weird. I don't think they have anything that says you can't. Because normally if you sell beer somewhere, I remember this from working at Wegmans. Because Wegmans is like when they came into the state, they were the ones that were pushing to change the laws. They were like,
Yeah.
we sell alcohol in every other store. What do you mean we can't sell beer here? So they helped like the laws get changed, but that always became part of the thing. Like there has to be some kind of eating aspect with it. So it's not just alcohol. So in Wegmans, technically you can sit down with your meal and open up a beer. So I've never seen anything at WaWa that says you can't. I'm pretty sure you're allowed to actually, if you bought a 6-pack, you might be able to like drink 1 or 2 of them there.
Yeah, you can't leave with an open container. That's the deal.
Yeah.
Did you work at the Wegmans up on 202?
I worked at the Wegmans up in Malvern like years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a house for sale right around the corner from there, 1 mile from that Wegmans, 111 Weybridge. Come and buy it. Whoever wants to eat at that Wegmans and drink beer.
and drink. That's hysterical.
Delco, Jesus, as far as your rise to fame on Facebook and all, when did that algorithm change for you? When did it catch on?
So I would say about like 2 years ago, about 2022, because I kind of started taking a break around 2021, about like maybe June, July, kind of stopped with everything. And then I was dealing with some legal stuff. And when that all settled down, I kind of just started posting again. And out of nowhere, I went from 2 years ago only having about 3,000 followers. And from, I think it was like middle of July, I started to see an uptick. By the time October hit, I hit like 5,000. And within the last like year or 2 years, I've like gained another 10,000 followers, which has been like a consistent, slow like build.
I think you're at like 30,000 on there.
I think I'm at like 14, and then
14.
Instagram, I'm at like 3.
I'm gonna off air. I want to talk to you about something about that. I got to ask you.
What do you think it was? Do you think it was?
There was a lot of different things. So one thing that I think helped me a lot was TikTok started getting really big at that time. And because Facebook was seeing a lot of people leave their platform to go post on TikTok because TikTok was paying people, they started trying to pay like content creators too. So what they started doing with a lot of people is as long as you post it consistently, they would put your stuff in front of people. So if you were someone that only posted once every week, they're really not going to show your stuff because you're not someone causing conversation to keep happening, and that's what they wanted. They noticed with TikTok, people were just staying on one app for like 4 straight hours, just watching videos, commenting, hating on things. So as long as I just consistently posted, I just kept seeing more and more people liking my page. And the cool thing about Facebook is someone likes one of your posts, you can invite them to like your page. So a lot of my likes were always newer people. I had a couple posts that like did really well.
What kind of content was those posts? Was it negative content? Was it like in your face content?
No, I mean, it was just, sometimes it was just stupid memes. Like one was, it was a map of all of the top ingredients or toppings, like the favorite topping of each state for pizza. And it was ridiculous. Like, I think ours was corn. Corn was PA's. Someone was carrots. Tuna was someone's. Like really stupid ones. And I posted that, but just took the image from Barstool that posted it originally and put like a meme underneath of it. And that, for some reason, when I wasn't doing much, did like, I think it had a view of like 1.7 million people, had like 20,000 likes on it. And then because of that, I just noticed one things that I think did better was like at that time, Phillies were like in the playoffs, getting to go into the playoffs. Like we're really hot at the time. So I posted a lot of Philly content, a lot of Eagles content, like anything that's kind of just relevant at the time, but just try to stick with that subject and try to fit that into my format somehow. And it would do pretty well.
Ben, I told you TikTok. People like TikTok.
People like TikTok. TikTok scares me. TikTok.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I absolutely, like, my cousin sent me a video earlier. She's like, you got to watch this video. I'm like, I don't even have TikTok on my phone. I can't even watch it.
I got rid of it like a year ago. And the funny thing is that was the one I was doing the best on. A couple years ago, the first Christmas, me and like my wife were together, like just dating. She pretended to buy me a PlayStation 5, but really it was just her girlfriend got her husband a PlayStation 5. So she got the box. And it was like a big joke, took a video of it, was pretty funny. And I posted that on TikTok and it didn't do anything for a while. And overnight, one night, I don't know if someone big saw it and shared it, but it went from like a 10,000 view video to like 250,000 views overnight, one night randomly. And I got all these random followers and it scared the shit out of me. So I ended up deleting TikTok and I was like, I'm never going back to this app. Because at least with like the Delco stuff, like I kind of know in a sense who follows me. And it's always like people, but like that was just like random. And I was like, these could be just Russian troll bots that are now following my TikTok.
It is scary, but like even from the real estate perspective, and one of the reasons we do this podcast is we meet new people. We enjoy having the conversation. Hopefully he bounces back on here, but it's about expanding the brand and getting our names out there more, right? So, I mean, we, it helps us touch point new people and a new audience. And that's one of the reasons we do the podcast every month. And like you said, TikTok could be an avenue for that, but it might maybe not be the place to be.
Yeah, it's just a scary one for me. And I just think it's like a weird algorithm they have. So I try to stay away from it. I kind of like Facebook a little bit more. I kind of understand it too. So it's always been the one I kind of stick with.
You mentioned a few minutes back a key word that I want to ask about because, as you become more popular and people start giving you more attention, you also end up getting more hatred. You get a lot of hate on social media.
So I don't get a ton, but I get some like random, but I always enjoy it because my whole like original experience with social media was like, I got Facebook at like 16 and it was very new at the time. It was like, I think when I was 16 is when they finally released it for people outside of college.
Right.
So everyone's new. So by the time I was like 19, 20, I was like a full-fledged troll. So like I was the person that would just write funny things and I would mess with people. Like even people I knew, I would just mess with them on social media because I thought it was funny. So anytime people do it to me, I already have like responses already set. Like it's nothing that hasn't been said by me. I have one guy who legitimately hates everything I post. He makes angry reacts to it. He literally comments that I should quit. And every time I see him comment, I will post like a GIF of a fan. And to me, it's like funny. And like sometimes he'll stop commenting for like a month or two, but he always comes back. And I'm fine with it because like it's not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never got like anything too crazy. I've seen it with some people, especially like with Aunt Mary Pat when she got really big. That was something that like, and I know Troy like personally. Troy's a good friend of mine. I love Troy. When he started getting big with that, people would write like the meanest comments, and I would know some of these people.
People are nasty.
Say that. I was like, you can't say that to somebody. Like, it's mean.
Oh, people are nasty.
Yeah.
But you don't mind it at all.
No, to me, like, honestly, if anyone ever said anything too mean to me, I would just see it more as probably punishment for my years as a troll. So that really bothers me.
So actually, your ability to turn that into like, I don't even care and I'm going to have fun with this is actually a superpower for you.
Yeah, it definitely helps me because, like, I know some people that like hate, like, if they get one negative comment, it'll want to make them like delete a post that has like hundreds of likes, hundreds of nice comments, but one negative comment can make them like question themselves. Where I'm just like, look, everyone's gonna have haters. I mean, John Cena said it best. You know, you find 1 million people that love you, you find 1 billion people that hate you.
Oh, I got to ask a question. You a big wrestling guy?
On and off, like my entire life. We were never really allowed to watch wrestling as a kid.
Oh, come on.
I had a very Irish Catholic mother who, like, we couldn't even have Disney Channel until I was like 13. Like Johnny Sudami was a little too racy for my mom.
Hey, we couldn't watch Three's Company because my dad didn't like it. It was a guy and 2 girls.
Yeah, living together, you can't have that. Yeah,
We couldn't have it. We couldn't watch Three's Company.
But my dad was like really big into like wrestling. He was from Ireland, so like when he came to America, wrestling was like a big thing he got to experience. So he always enjoyed it. So like we got to watch like some WCW back in like the mid 90s. I would watch like WWE a little bit later on. Obviously I got to watch some ECW, which was good. But I mean, more and more lately I work with a lot of guys that are wrestling fans. So it's been cool. Like I've gotten back into wrestling over the last couple years.
My son said to me a couple months ago, Dad, because I stopped watching because I like the old timers. I don't like the new stuff. He says, you got to start watching it. It's actually really good. It's actually fun.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Like, I mean, I feel like some of the storylines, I watch a lot of just clips at this point. Just like as I'm browsing, it's fun to watch some of these guys just argue with each other in the ring now. Like, and I mean, there's some good matches, which I'm enjoying, but the storylines are good again. Like, it's stuff that you could see yourself getting invested in.
And you know what? It's a good turnoff from the everyday craziness. Like you trying to recover. It's mindless. That's why I look at wrestling. We know it's fake. It's mindless. It's entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something to watch, something to kind of just enjoy and kind of fall into like a fake world that like takes a lot to get through. Like I've watched like a lot of videos of like training and stuff like that lately. I've been following, I forget what gym it is in this area that's always like recruiting and stuff and just watching the video. Huh?
Monster Factory?
It might be Monster Factory.
Horton?
I forget exactly, but just like the videos of like new people learning to train and stuff is like, it's awesome to watch, but I'm like, man, I don't think I'd ever want to do that. And like, I used to box, I've done jiu-jitsu, like stuff like that. And now that I'm older, I'm like, I would never want to be doing that. Jumping off the ropes and stuff.
You stopped doing karate. My son is a black belt in Tang Sudo. And he stopped there. He's a senior high school. Stopped there after 10 years. I wish he would still keep it. I love that. I wish I did the karate.
It's good for you. You know, it's something that it just kind of helps you. I feel like it always helped me stay calm. I did jiu-jitsu for years at where I used to work at UD Pal in Upper Darby, Andy Carr's gym, which was a great time. I always loved that gym. But yeah, I messed up my knee years ago, and then I kind of stopped, and I just never got back into it.
My son was at AmCorps. They were headquartered in Aston. It was a long time, well respected. I just always wanted to kick someone's head off. I just want to be able to kick someone in the ear. And you guys always, my son's always like, we practice, self-defense, but we don't want to fight. And I'm like, would you just kick someone's ear off just one time?
It's only an ear. Never want to use it.
I'm dying. I'm like, one time, dude, just kick someone's head off. I would have been dangerous if I had that. I would have been crazy, mate. I would not have only been headbutting people. I've been trying to kick people's faces off.
That's
I love the karate. It's a great, and like you said, it's a great discipline mentally too for you too. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great discipline for you.
So before we wrap up, what's next for you with the Delco Jesus? Are you you're recovering? What do you have, a concussion?
Yeah, I had a concussion. I'm recovering. I'm back to work, luckily, which is good. So I'm starting to do some food reviews. I'm actually going up to Wolf's on Friday. To try the new Havertown spot.
Smack Dan for me and tell him I'm still waiting to find out what the Chubby Dudley sandwich is going to be.
I will definitely do that. Yeah. I would love to see what the Chubby Dudley sandwich is going to be.
We were started talking about it, and then we just stopped.
I'm
talking.
sure it's going to be something very docile, small sandwich.
We were going to like intertwine, my Italian Delco Nashville fucking thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
That was
adult audience. Look at Hub. He took offense to that. Hub will create the sandwich with a Texas flair bay, and we'll put that on the menu up here.
The Hub.
Yes. So, Delco Jesus, where can we find you on social media for all the people that want to follow you on Facebook?
So Facebook, just Delco Jesus is the page. And then my Instagram's at Delco Jesus. That's all I have. It's just those two. I think I also have a Threads.
Instagram.
Well, you do have a YouTube channel, but you're not very active on it.
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I haven't really put anything. I originally was going to start moving all my food reviews over there. That's still the plan. I just kind of haven't done much with it. Yeah, it's been taking me time. But I'm in the process of I have a new podcast that all of the stuff isn't completely finalized, but will be coming out probably in the next few weeks. That'll be like exclusive to iHeartRadio.
Nice.
On iHeartRadio.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be the working title for it right now is Walking on Water.
Is that going to be on terrestrial radio too, or just on?
So that's the thing, is it'll be a partner with Q102, so they'll be able to use like my content and stuff on all their stuff.
Nice.
So you got to be excited.
That's a big gig, isn't it?
This is like a big thing for me, so I'm trying not to get too excited because then I always end up going off the rails a little bit. So I'm trying to stay really calm until it finally starts. But I got some guests coming. Chubby's going to be on there, which is going to be great.
You don't need him on here.
No, I definitely want him coming on there. I got a few other guests. I actually have, I don't know if you guys have seen there's this great documentary on Max called Mother Love or Mother God. I think it is The Cult of Mother God. And there was this lady, she was like on Dr. Phil a couple times even. She believed that she was like God incarnate. She was Mother God, and she led this cult. She eventually died because of all the cult stuff. But the guy that now like kind of oversees it, he's actually from like Northeast Philly. And he's going to be coming onto the show, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. You got to keep us posted on that, even if it's through Bay. Maybe one month you can pop on for 5 minutes if you got the
And Q102 is a local station there. Is that right?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
it used to be a very big station hub over here.
But there was also a legendary station here in Dallas called Q102.
Really?
Yeah, it was called Q102 Texas Best Rock.
Nice. This one's more like pop station.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that was in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Good old days of music.
Yes. Well, listen, we can't thank you enough. Extremely appreciate you joining the Closing Table podcast this month. I know everybody was excited. I'm sure a lot of people are going to listen to this one as the month goes on. I wish you the best with the upcoming podcast and all the stuff you got working. And again, we thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and the radio show too.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm doing a top secret pop in the Delco in October. I want to get a beer with you.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, I want to join. And guess where we're going? We're going to Dolan's.
We're going to Dolan's.
Shit, I wanted to go to WaWa.
What about Buc-ee's?
Yeah, too far for us. Thanks again, Delco Jesus. Appreciate you joining the show.
Take care, man. I'll text you in a little bit.
Perfect. I'll talk to you guys.
All right, brother. Later.
I love that. He's a great dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I can walk down there. He's working right down the street from where my office is over here.
Yeah.
Really good guy.
He's also very humble too. He wasn't bragging about all the stuff he's got going for him. And that's some big stuff going on.
Yeah.
He said some interesting things. You know, me and Hub always talk about rewatching the episode. So this one's worth rewatching. And hopefully the people that didn't listen and can rewatch it, it was a good one, I think, this month.
It might surprise us and get a lot of views too.
Absolutely. And Hub, we're going to talk more about the changes in the business. Next month, I'd like to get Eric Jesberger on to speak about the upcoming Reading Royal season. I wanted to mention that I am now the preferred real estate partner of the Reading Royals this season. So new title for us with the Royals. We are the preferred real estate partner of the Reading Royals, who are the ECHL affiliate of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms and Philadelphia Flyers. We are also, as you see at the bottom of the screen there, we also are corporate sponsors of the Lancaster Stormers, who look like they're headed to the playoffs for the third or fourth straight year. They're back-to-back championships in the Atlantic League, and they're Reading Phillies, which is another great old school stadium. We've been giving out tickets. Bay, we also are going to do the giveaway for the 6 hottest games for the Royals this year. We're working on a contest for that, and Bay will bring out. That's huge. It's like $120 value at the minimum. We're going to give you 6 tickets.
That's a hell of a prize there, Dan.
I'm looking forward to it. We're doing a lot there. They have a club level this year, so all my guests that are here, if you're coming up in October, maybe we can catch a game if you have time. We have a club seats this year in the bar area.
I'm
nice
literally flying in Friday. I have a big meeting on Saturday and flying out Sunday.
I know what that big meeting is, and I know that's causing you a headache. So hopefully that comes along as well.
Okay, Bay, I know you haven't felt so well lately. Is that right?
My health is better.
Okay, that's what I was concerned about.
Yeah.
And I tried to ask you, but I know when you don't feel well and you're busy, you might not be able to answer something.
Yeah, no, I
totally understand.
I have another situation going on, and it's been really. Yeah.
Everybody's having some. Hub, you've always been good with us, and we appreciate you always hanging in there and joining us. And Hub always touches base with me during the month, even if I'm busy as heck. I always appreciate hearing from Hub. So we're going to join you next month, probably towards we're actually into September here. Kids are back.
Oh, we're still live. I thought we weren't live.
No,
we're live. But what are you, more relaxed now? We're still live.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
He was kicking his feet up over there. Look at him.
I didn't mean to even ask. Like,
that's all right.
What's going on? I was concerned about you, Bay, and I didn't know.
I appreciate that.
This is hey, listen, this is a family now. We've been doing this over 2 years, and this is why we bring it. We bring it so new people join us, understand who we're about, what we do. Even my mom says, I don't want to interfere when I come over. I go, Mom, when you come over my house, it's the same. It's what you see is what you get. That's the same as it is on this podcast. So we're going to join you next month. I hope to get Eric Chessberger on. He's a good buddy of mine.
Yes.
I am thrilled to see where he's going with his
Great
career
kid.
with the Royals.
He'll come on.
Oh, he'll come on. Yeah, I just got a call. I didn't get a chance to call him before we had the program, but we just signed a big marketing deal with them this year. Huge.
Awesome.
We're going to be on all the print media with their rosters. We're on the radio broadcast. I have commercials that I did myself on their intermission. I'm going to be in the booth this year, for a period as a color commentator for the Reading Royals. I cannot wait.
That's amazing.
My dream was being an announcer. I cannot wait to have the headset on and be up in a booth with a professional like Eric. And we're also getting a 10-minute intermission interview all about NextHome Brandywine that Eric's going to do for us in conjunction with the Royals. Tammy Dames, Amanda Eckert, and that team. We're also, Dallin Yo just left the Royals. He was the head of ticketing and retention and season tickets. He's now with the Reading Area Chamber. I'm meeting with him next week on Wednesday. So we are going to be part of the Reading Chamber and even have a bigger presence. I really want to expand Reading and Lancaster, Berks County, Lancaster County. That's our goal, So, Bay, get us out of here. We're a little late, but I appreciate everybody joining this month.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It was an amazing show this month with an amazing guest. Thank you, Delco Jesus, for hanging out with us and talking everything Delco. Real quick, I got to send birthday wishes to a past guest of ours who's been blowing my phone up the past hour. Happy birthday, Mr. Joel Goodhart.
Oh, I love Joel. Joel's a man.
Yeah, Joel
We've had him on the show, too.
Absolutely. And he will be coming back on, too, in the near future because there's big things happening, big announcements coming. And as always, if you want the biggest, the best, and the most precise realtor to meet all your needs, this guy next to me, Dan Peasy, NextHome Brandywine, and his team, they will take care of you because they know how to treat humans over houses.
Hey,
Until next time.
Real quick, before we get out of here, I'm not too vain. I'm pining for that big project that's going on between you and Joel. I'm pining for a interview spot in the locker room there.
I can't wait to tell you. Your mind is going to be blown when I tell you all the things.
Joe, I need to be a backstage announcer for that event, man. I'm pining for that. LAW's ring announcer is pining for a spot on that card. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Have a safe trip, Bay.